Hi, I'm Miriam and this is another little garden video, an update from May. Today is May 8th and 2 garden vlogs ago I posted a video showing us planting, my mother-in-law and I, and this is what it looks like now. We have tons of spring onion. So I've been able to eat that basically every day for a few weeks now. And here the peas have been coming up and my little red leaf friends here. Don't be scared of my finger, I cut my fingernail off. I have a lot of radish, the white big one. Chinese cabbage is growing really fast. Purple kale cabbage, purple cabbage, the normal cabbage, many plants. Our biggest failure this year is definitely cauliflower. We must have planted over 20 places, but in each we planted maybe at least 5 seeds, and I think we have like 3 or 4 plants coming up, and that's kind of sad. Here we have a Chinese vegetable which basically grows like a salad, but you eat the stem. And then over here is our chili. And soon we can start harvesting our chives as well, Chinese chives. So here we have a lot of spinach and another leafy green you can eat. I don't know what this is called. But we use it as spinach basically. Some of the sugar beet coming up. They're not very big yet though. And here I planted a lot of pumpkin, but it's only a few that's come up so far. But I've planted them a little late and outside, so I'm thinking I'll give them another week or 2 before I decide they're not, they don't come up. But then, when my mother-in-law and I planted carrots, we planted differently. Mine are in rows and hers are not in rows. And it's a competition, so the one who loses will buy clothes for the one who wins. But it's too early to tell. We're not gonna judge who's the winner until we can start eating the carrots. But so far, there are not really many carrots coming up at all from any of us. The latest video I posted was us building this greenhouse. And I found out later that it's actually called a Chinese high tunnel. So that means that it's kind of like a polytunnel, but it has a wall. So that's behind, like on that side towards the north we have a wall. Well, in all of April basically we've been busy planting in the greenhouse and out here. Jag hörde matat hörnorna sen. I was working in the greenhouse just now, but now everybody left, and I'm looking after Sansan, and looking after Sansan and doing things in the greenhouse is not a good idea because he's walking all over. But I found a bag of beetroot. So last year I bought beetroots and brought beetroot seeds and brought them from Sweden, but then I lost the bag and I found it now. So I'm gonna plant some beetroot. So here I planted my beetroots and a few of them have started to come up. They're very small. Here my mother-in-law has planted broad beans and you can see that they've all started to come up. And I wanted to make a little stone path leading up to my herbs and some flowers, but I haven't been able to get the car down to the river to get a lot of stones. But when we were walking with a stroller, with some strollers, we did pick a few of them because I just wanted to try. This is what it looks like now. And then we would obviously put sand in between, and I want to find some bigger rocks. Like these are quite small. I want to find more this size. And here is leek and some other veggies that my mother-in-law's planted. We have one bit here that we still haven't sown anything on yet. And here next to the little walkway, I've planted beans in 3 different colors. So these beans will be red, green and yellow. And one has come up so far. Here it is. Hello, little bean. And now comes my favorite part of the garden, the greenhouse.
问时呢2天，但是没弄好，半个也没弄好。So first now comes the bean, which doesn't grow very tall. 现在有种白菜和菜花。Behind this stick here, I'm gonna plant strawberries the whole way. I just picked or dug up all the strawberry plants that we have spread out randomly in the garden. I'm gonna give them a nicer bed here. And then we have this little part where I'm gonna fit a lot of little green ones. Seeds actually look, the Swiss chard actually looks exactly like beetroot or any kind of beets. This is food scraps from the last maybe 2-3 weeks. Fun fact is that one of them is basically 100% sunflower seeds. I am going to bury these in the soil, in the bed where we have strawberries. So I'm back in the greenhouse again, and this bed here is for pumpkin. And again, I buried some food scraps because I know in Sweden a lot of people grow pumpkins just right on the compost heap.
So although it took a long time to get everything ready, it is ready and everything's planted, and I'm really excited to show you what we got so far. Peas and then just beans, 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 beans. Like in some of these we got like 4 of them coming up. So we have a lot of cucumbers. There are even more beans, short beans, and Chinese cabbage. Here are the sad little cauliflowers. Like here's one, none, tiny, tiny, tiny little one. 2 rows of tomatoes and chili. And this row here is full of eggplant. Here we've got squash. Here are all greens. Then we've got the strawberries. They're not doing that well yet, but I think they will. They just need some time. Funny little thing here, we've got a lot of some sort of pumpkin coming up, or squash, or I don't know, because I think it's Sansan who planted them. he has been walking around with the seed bags sometimes, and I know there's some areas in the greenhouse with a lot of radish, which is all planted by Sansan, and then these might be as well. And then I realized I also bury the food scraps. I don't know if pumpkin seeds need to dry out first, because they were not dried out. If they don't need to be dried out, it might be from the food scraps. If that's the case, it's a really, really tasty pumpkin, so I don't mind. But over here, we're gonna have more pumpkins coming up. There's only one so far. Here, oh, two actually. Here's one more. And then here's some green leaves. Here's my little growing in compost experiment. Chili! Lots of chili! That was the end of this little garden vlog though, but if you're interested in gardening, you could help me out, help me think a little. I want to start a compost. I was thinking before, oh, I'm going to do a worm compost because I think it's really interesting. I was visiting Go Yvonne. I made a little video about it too. She has her own urban little garden in her windowsill, and she has a worm farm in her apartment, and I thought worms are really cool. But I was watching this video online about chicken composting, which got my interest because I now have 4 chickens, and that's quite little. Like the videos I was watching, people had, you know, 20, 30, 40 chickens. We've got 4. I don't know how effective it would be. So maybe I'll start both the worm compost and chicken compost. But the chicken composting, one guy had over 600 chickens fed purely on composting, because they eat both like some food scraps, but they will also eat like the organisms in the compost. So I thought that would be cool to try a chicken compost, but I can't decide. And then I'm watching, someone tipped me off on Charles Dowding, not American, an English guy, and he does the composting. It goes pretty fast, and he just does it in a box, you know, the normal kind of composting, and then the worms will naturally find their way in. So I don't know which one I should do. I got those three different types of compost, and I can't decide. Let me know if you have composted and how you've done it. Especially interested in chicken composting because can't find as much information about it. But yeah, the thing is, if I do the worm compost, then I can't put chicken manure directly in the worm composting bin. So I would need to have like a special little compost area for that anyways. It's funny what you can find when you're digging in the garden. This, I think, is part of a jaw from a pig.